The train, for its type, is the most powerful vehicle on land. And the engines of Sodor are the power behind the docks, industries and branch lines that make up the world-renowned Northwestern Railway. These are the stories of Sodor. The modernisation and re-equipment of British railways, more commonly known as the Modernisation Plan, was the government's attempt to overhaul the nation's ageing network and bring it into the 20th century. Increases to speed, reliability, safety and line capacity were promised, and a huge amount of money was invested into the scheme. But, I'm sorry to say, the plan was ultimately a costly failure and a missed opportunity. Instead of revolutionising the rails, the plan merely updated them as they already existed. Furthermore, it failed to equip BR with the means necessary to defend against growing competition, primarily from the roads. Indeed, the number of cars, buses and lorries had exploded throughout the post-war years, offering greater convenience and affordability to people and businesses. The main cause for this is the little-known fact that back in the 19th century, railways were designated as common carriers. This meant we were legally obligated to undertake any and every job, regardless of whether it was economical to do so. The roads had no such restrictions and could easily undercut us on even the cheapest of carriage rates. As such, we lost a huge amount of our small wagon load traffic throughout the 50s, which makes me wonder why BR went to the effort and expense of building large marshalling yards in the first place. And don't even get me started on the closures. Under modernisation, many small lines that were considered superfluous or uneconomical were shut down across Britain, and unfortunately, the Loop fit this definition and was closed on April 23, 1956. Thomas, Toby and I took extreme exception to this, as did Whiff about a week later. Good morning, Gordon. Good morning, Whiff. I must say I'm relieved to see you. I was about to send out a search party. It's not like you to be late. Sorry about that. There was a points failure at Lower Knapford, and I had to wait for them to fix it before I could move on. Why didn't you— Wait, never mind. Were you about to ask why didn't I just go around? Until I remembered why you couldn't. Grr. Honestly, this is exactly the sort of thing I was worried about when they closed the Loop. What were they thinking? Oh, not you too. What do you mean? I had to listen to Thomas and Toby bang on about this. You'd think they'd lost a friend the way they keep moaning about it. Come now, Eileen, have some compassion. It used to be the main line for the Elsbridge and Knapford Railway, which they and Edward helped build, literally from the ground up. I too would be miffed if the fruits of my labour were cast aside so blithely, even if it was for the best. You support the closure? Yes, it was a waste of track. It didn't have any depots or yards and only a single station. And no one lost their jobs since the lads who worked there were all reassigned, so I don't know what all the fuss is about. It was an important redundancy. If there was a foul up around the tunnel, which need I remind you is prone to being blocked by snow during the winter, trains were still able to run. Not all of them. I don't remember you ever using it. Of course not. I'm too big and the line was insufficient for express trains and heavy goods. And when we were laid up, using the Loop didn't make much of a dent. No, it didn't. Maybe closing it was a good idea. And as you say, Eileen, nobody lost their jobs, which is indeed a blessing. Let's pray it remains that way. Pray that I also have a smooth run to Barrow. Good day, everyone. I shall see you upon my return. Bye, Gordon. Later, Gordon. Oi, hold up there. Are you speaking to me? There's no one else about. What do you think you're playing at? I'm shunting these coaches into a siding. Isn't that obvious? Who said you could use that one? Why is that any of your business? For that matter, who the devil are you? Can't you read my nameplate? I'm Sheffield, the new shunter for Barrow. You shunter? What happened to the other one? The J94? Reassigned. Pity. It was polite. It was faceless. exactly. A pompous prat with the number 4 in his tender. You must be Gordon. Yes, indeed I am, and you are easily one of the rudest engines I have ever met. If it's a choice between being polite and doing my job, it's no contest. Then congratulations, you are failing on both accounts. I have never seen this yard in such a sorry state. Maybe it'd help if gits like you didn't clog up the sidings, which brings me back to my original question. Who said you could use that one? It's a standing arrangement with the yardmaster. It's never been an issue. It is today. I needed to marshal a goods train for the rusty red prat around the corner. You mean James? Funny you knew who I was talking about. Only because you're not the first to use such slander against my friend. So I'm warning you, hold your tongue. Blow it out your smoke box, you galloping sausage. I've got work to do. Clear off and take those coaches with you. Well, since you asked so nicely, I think not. And you have the nerve to say I'm rude. Just pray you never cross swords with Diesel. All right there, James? No, Samson, I'm not. Have you met the new shunt out of Barrow? I didn't know there was one. Then let me give you a warning. He's a tosser with a rough tongue. I've dealt with some real mongrels in my time, but this Sheffield was something else. Wait, did you say Sheffield? Is he a green austerity by any chance? You just said, I know, but is he? Yes. Huh, small world. How small? Do you know him? Yes. Back on the mainland I worked near a coal mine run by another austerity named Glenn. He was a good bloke, really friendly. From time to time his brother Sheffield came by, and apart from identical faces, those two were complete opposites. Sheffield was very abrasive and grumpy, who did everything he could to keep others away. The strange part is some of the workmen said he used to be just like his brother. I asked Glenn about it, but he never gave me a straight answer. And I didn't even try talking to Sheffield about it. Sounds like a smart move. He probably would have torn you a new smoke box. No, not approaching him was a mistake. Next time I'm at Barrow, I'll ask him. Good luck, mate. But enough about that. Where do you want these? Just there is fine. I'll shunt them once that siding on the far left has been cleared. You know you have to take that lot, right? Yep, a load of rails bound for Tidmouth. How are the upgrades going on the main line? Really well. The line between Napper and Mustard Heights is finished. And how have the rails themselves been? Excellent. Top quality. You can quote me to the lads up at the steel mill. I will. They'll be happy to hear that. Mind you, they were very happy when they were contracted by BR to forge these new rails. They're busier than ever. And so are we. Yes. How are you coping? We're struggling, and we're especially worried about how the workload will increase once the CFR is finished. Finished? Wait, has construction started up again? Come on, James, we've dawdled long enough. Let's get going. All right, Andrew, keep your shirt on. Sorry to dash, Samson, but duty... Bust my buffers! Are you alright, James? More annoyed than hurt. I take it these are those new points? Yes, they went in yesterday. Strange, they were working fine this morning. Okay, now I'm really annoyed. And so was I, as our number 5 wasn't the only one to experience a derailment thanks to some newfangled nonsense. But before I talk about that, I should mention the track renewal side of modernization. As I said earlier, the plan aimed at increasing line capacity and did so by overhauling vast sections of the network. Thousands of miles of track and countless bridges and tunnels were upgraded. While such a massive undertaking did cause delays, that was to be expected. And to be fair, when this work was completed, the rails were a joy to travel on. Pity the re-signalling side of things wasn't so efficient. As the track was being reworked, new electronic points and signals were also being installed. These were connected to various control centers, allowing for entire regions to be monitored by a handful of staff. Alas, this attempt at streamlining BR's operations put more than a few signalmen out of work, with many of their boxes being left to rot. Not to mention the new system had some issues. Wiring faults resulted in malfunctioning signals, with shoddy sensors causing the points to become jammed or misaligned. Again, to be fair, these teething problems were resolved rather quickly. Unfortunately, not before Jeffrey got into a very serious accident. Didn't Control know? Aye, and they set the signal to danger. The problem was it had a faulty circuit and didn't change over. Jeffrey wouldn't have known there was a fallen tree on the line. Well, not until he ran into it. Is he alright? He's not in the best shape, literally. He'll be laid up in the works for at least a month. It's a real shame. I know he was looking forward to testing out these new trucks. Oh aye, I was going to ask about them. How are they? Very sturdy things. A real treat to use. You hear that, Planker? Oh, buzz off, Tinhead. Oi, I told you both to shut it. As you can see, there's already a bit of friction. The older lads don't care for the young ones, probably because they keep boasting about being somehow better. It's not boasting if it's true. What in blazes? Who are you? I am Murdoch. I am here to deliver another shipment of rolling stock for your use, and it looks as though I am just in time. What a ramshackle fleet! It must be torture for you to use such relics, but worry not. These are built to the BR standard, quite like myself, and I assure you it is a superior design. Are you asserting that somehow makes you superior? I am asserting nothing. I am stating it as a fact. Not that an antique like you would understand. Good gracious, what are you even doing here? Are you the special attraction at some seaside parade? No, I work on a local branch line. You mean you're still in service? Oh my. Well, if they're so desperate for engines, I take it that you're also still being used. What's your big job here? I'm a heavy goods engine. What are you laughing about? What are you laughing about? Oh, my dear fellow, if you think a heavy goods train is something you can pull, you are sorely mistaken. I am the true heavy goods engine here, the pinnacle of steam manufacturing. Outdated rubbish like you Black Fives couldn't handle even half of what I am capable of pulling. Don't be so sure, you impertinent prat. I've been handling goods trains of every size for decades. Does that include up to 40 wagons and 1,000 tons? I'll pull the other one. There's no way a single engine could take that much freight. Well, prepare to be amazed when you see me in action. And it just so happens I have to take a return goods train, so you won't have to wait too long. Who do I speak to about collecting it? That'd be Donald. He's working in the yard today. Go straight on and you should find him by the dockside. Right. Ta-ta for now. Ta-ta forever, I hope. Grr. The nerve of that orange spaceship, calling me outdated and you an antique. I'd like to show him what for. Ah, let it go, Henry. He's not worth it. I don't know, Toby. I think he is. I really do. Henry, if you're thinking about trying to outdo him, don't. Like it or loathe it, he's a 9F, and they really are the premier heavy goods engines in this country. You can't compete with his strength, and I implore you not to try, not unless you want a repeat of when you went toe-to-toe with Peter back in the day. Ugh, no, if I can go without ever experiencing that again. Thank you, Toby. What would we do without you? I have no idea. Not bad. Hardly Liverpool, but still a very respectable harbour. Now, where is this? Well, what have we here? A new face. How do you do, laddie? I'm a museum. What? That's what this island is, a railway museum. First an old tram, then a Black Five, and now a Caledonian. How this region remains operational with such archaic engines in service is nothing short of a miracle. There's nothing miraculous about it, laddie. This region works. Spare me the lecture, old-timer. I have no use for it. I'm here to collect a goods train heading for Barrow. Where might I find it? Over there. I've still got a few more trucks to assemble, but it's shaping up to be a pretty sizable heavy goods. You called that a heavy goods? My dear fellow, I could take that on a single cylinder. Do you have anything else bound for Barrow? Aye, that. Wait, you're not seriously thinking? Indeed I am. Couple them up to my train. I'll take them all in one hit. Are you out of your mind? You'll never be able to take that much freight up Gordon's Hill. What a silly name for a hill. And who are you to presume I can't? Well, even if you can, I can't just hand them over. Not without permission from the yardmaster in control. Fine, let's have a word with them. I'm sure you will find they agree with me. What total codswallop! What are you havering about? They said yes, and they had the nerve to assign me a banker. It was the right decision. You'll need one, maybe even two. Balderdash, I don't need help from anyone. What are you trying to prove, laddie? Or rather, who are you trying to impress? Nobody. I am trying to do my job in the most efficient way possible, nothing more. But everywhere I go, I get told off by gaffers like you who think they know best. Have you ever thought maybe they were trying to help? That they want to impart some of their wisdom? That's what I was trying to tell you earlier. The reason Sodor works as a railway is because every engine knows their limits, and we're not too proud to ask for help when we need it. But are any of those engines equipped with 10 driving wheels? That's the whole reason why I was built, to take heavy loads over long distances, and I've done that successfully many times. That doesn't mean you always will. All right, I'll accept the banker's help, provided they're actually useful. They'll be useful. I just hope you are.
What's the matter?
I've just had a call from up the line. Murdoch's come to a standstill on Gordon's Hill. I'm not surprised given the size of the train he was pulling.
How big are we talking?
I lost count after 30 trucks. He had Reginald for a banker, but that obviously wasn't enough. The line needs to be cleared. Henry?
Say no more. I'm on my way. Oh, I can't wait to see this.
Oh, Henry, thank heavens. I thought I was going to be stuck here all day.
Sorry I couldn't get here sooner. Fizzling fireboxes. This train's a monster. I'm amazed you made it this far.
So am I. That orange spaceship up front was so certain we'd make it over the top.
Looks like the standard slipped up.
Yes, the guard's gone up to assess the situation. We're to wait until he gets back.
Will do. I suppose your experience with Murdoch was brutally unpleasant.
Let's see. He gave a hollow laugh when I told him I was the banker. He then rambled on a bit about how classes like his raise BR standards while we lower them. Then right before he politely told me to shove off in favour of the real banker, he asked me what the Great Depression was like.
At least he's consistent. He had a go at me, Toby and Donald earlier.
Oh, do tell. What's going on, Murdoch? I'm stuck, that's what. I emptied fully half of my sand traps in an attempt to gain traction, but my wheels kept slipping. I knew that relic back there was ill-suited. Murdoch, I don't want to hear another word out of you bad-mouthing the other engines. And if I do, I will personally make sure you spend the rest of your career as a banker on the Licky Incline. Understood? Yes? Good.
Looks like the standard slipped up.
Ah, great. They sent Henry to help. Oh no, not that sturdy-looking Black 5, who I'm sure will be of great assistance. That's right, he will. I'm going to head back down. When you hear 2 whistles, you pull and they'll push. Remember, 2 whistles. It's not going to work. What a complete cad!
No doubt about it. Why is he so unpleasant?
Maybe he thinks he has to prove himself.
But Donald said,
I know. Maybe he's worried he won't get the chance to have a full working life like the rest of you. His class was built at a really bad time, right when they've said they're going to stop producing steam.
But that's silly. He's in no danger of being scrapped any more than the rest of us.
Maybe he doesn't know that. And even if he does, how much work will there be available for him if it's all taken over by diesels? I know that's kept you up at night. You're worried you'll be forced into retirement. I know I'd hate to have that thrust upon me. I want to leave working life on my terms.
I think I need to have a word with him later.
Ah, Henry, I'm so glad you're here. You'll do the trick.
We going for the standard approach? 2 whistles and we're off?
Yep. Are you ready?
And raring.
Then buffer up and wait for my mark. Evening, Henry.
Evening, Murdoch. Have a good run after the hill?
Yes, very good. I struggled to make up for lost time, but it could have been worse. It might well have been if you hadn't helped. Your performance today was incredible.
Not bad for outdated rubbish, eh?
No, I didn't mean...
I know, I'm only teasing. But do you mind if I ask you a personal question? Are you concerned about your future?
No, not really.
You're not?
No. Even when they start rolling out those oily things, I know they're not going to subject me to the wrong end of a cutter's torch. Why do you ask?
It's just that it's no secret yours is the last class of steam engine BR is going to build, and given the size of the train you took today, maybe you felt you had to prove you were still going to be useful.
I've proven that already.
What do you mean?
Henry, I'm not a regular 9F. I'm actually the prototype, and I was built back in 1948.
Really? Then how come they only started building your class last year?
Labour shortages, budget cuts and bureaucracy, they said. But I've always suspected they purposely dallied because they've been considering dieselization long before modernization.
That would make a bit of sense. Their decision to end steam did seem rather abrupt. I'm surprised I hadn't heard about you for all those years. A goods engine of your size would surely turn heads.
I'm sure you know perfectly well, Henry. It's the express engines that get all the fame and glory.
Can't argue there. I suppose since you've been in service for, 8 years? You must have moved a serious amount of freight.
Which is why I took the train that I did. I have handled heavier loads before, all without failure or assistance. Not to mention I was able to do what 2 or even 3 of the older engines couldn't.
Sounds like you let that success go to your smoke box.
Yes, I did, which is what made today such a humbling experience. Henry, I am terribly sorry for all the horrible things I said to you. You're not outdated rubbish.
Apology accepted. And you know what? Credit where credit's due. I spoke to the yardmaster on the way in. Do you know how many trucks were on that train of yours? 43. 43! That's absolutely incredible. You not only broke the record for the Northwestern region, you shattered it. Well done, laddie. You're clearly an engine who puts his money where his mouth is.
Well, how about you do us all a favour and shut yours, old square wheels? There's a hard-working shunter trying to sleep.
Then shut up, Sheffy. You might wake him.
Git, Pratt. Following that night and a stern word from the Fat Controller the next morning, Murdoch returned to work a more enlightened engine. He made amends with all those he had offended and went on to become a truly invaluable asset for the Northwestern region. Indeed, his amazing strength allowed us to shift an unprecedented amount of freight and was instrumental towards recovering several contracts we had lost to the roads. So Topham wanted to keep him, but BR had other plans for him. Thus, when Jeffrey returned from the works a month later, the 9F departed, going on to have a long, fulfilling career. As for modernization, the planned installation of the electric signals had to be postponed due to manufacturing issues and was slowly rolled out over the next few years. Meanwhile, more of BR's standard stock continued rolling in. If you're wondering what this meant for the older trucks and coaches, don't worry. The non-faceless ones remained in service while the rest were either preserved or scrapped. And despite a few clashes every now and then, we all managed to get along. I'm sure it hasn't escaped your notice that I haven't really gone into detail about modernization's most dramatic component, dieselization. That's because I have a lot to talk about there, so you can be sure that is very much a story for another day.